Hey everyone, welcome to another Throwback Thursday. This is not really a Throwback Thursday per se, it's more of a book review that I'm doing. Jerry is fighting with me here over the bed. But I really wanted to talk about was Mark Allen Smith books. And as you're known as the oh my god, my phone keeps going off because of scammers. I'm sorry about that. Okay. These are called Primal Craft, I guess, which is a invention of Mark Allen Smith. I can tell you right now I'm really not a big fan of a lot of his stuff. You gotta stop it, Jerry. Okay. I'm not really a big fan of his stuff. I picked the wrong time and day to be doing this because Cosmo's just taking up a lot of space here, too. The cats are really mad because they're trying to go to bed here, and they've chosen my bed. So, where to begin? Let me see. Okay. I don't have the complete set. I'm missing the Queen of Hell one, which is the Hecate one. So the first one that I got was about Lucifer here, the Red King. And immediately when I was going through it, I just thought this is all BS, honestly. For one thing, it's extremely pagan, and I have a problem with paganism, which I think I've kind of disclosed in my book a little bit about paganism and how I feel about it. I will say this though, the illustrations are amazing. So they are nice books, but you're going to be paying an awful lot for these books. So I highly don't recommend it unless you're into this kind of system. So, full disclosure, I am really not into this system that much. And the reason why is because it's very pagan oriented. It's a hodgepodge of dark Wicca, left-hand path, Satanism, a little bit of Luciferianism thrown in for good measure, and definitely some traditional witchcraft, particularly the British kind. So, if you're into like gimmickry books, you know, you're probably going to know where these books are going. It's definitely Wicca type of witchcraft, but it does carry some of that Wicca essence too, and that it is nature oriented and, you know. Okay, my phone keeps going off. I need to just turn it off. But so it's like a combination of satanic deities mixed with a kind of I don't want to say, I guess it's old Welsh, traditional witchcraft kind of mixed with paganism, in that you're mixing pagan deities, pagan pre-Christian deities with kind of more, uh, oh, left-hand path oriented satanic deities, I guess, is what you would call it. Like Belial, obviously, and there's a little bit of anti-cosmic thrown into, but not in the traditional sense of anti-cosmic. So it's still bound up in kind of a nature worship, because he calls it primal craft. And there's this whole idea of like the Atlantean race, which is, this whole Atlantis civilization that he believes in. And so, I don't know why this Belial book, the Scorpion God, is kind of banged up. So, these deities, what he's implying is they go back to Atlantis civilization. The infamous civilization is wiped out by a flood, and the city's supposedly underwater. The city that we still have not found that, quite frankly, I think does not exist. At least not in this plane, in this dimension. So these are like extraterrestrial gods, basically, that once ruled that civilization, is what he's implying. And he brings it all into kind of a very dark, twisted path. System of working, and these two are in the series. Like I said, I'm missing the Hecate one. I don't like Hecate. I typically do not work with her. I don't work with a lot of the pagan Hellenized deities, honestly. If I do, I will work with ones that are more aligned with Lucifer, like Apollo, Dionysus, ones like that. But I'm just not a big fan of paganism. I don't consider myself a pagan. I am a Gnostic, and there is a difference between that. Gnosticism is going to be closer to Christianity than paganism. Now, I know that's controversial. A lot of, people on the left-hand path have a hard time with that. But if you are, the uncomfortable thing is, if you are, I wish my phone would stop going off. I need to block this people. If you are using terms like Satan and Lucifer and all that, I'm sorry, but you're not pagan. You are still part of the Abrahamic religion tree. Any pagan that you talk to is going to tell you the same thing. So, the larger elephant in the room, of course, with Mark Allen Smith, is his rituals are extremely hard. And they're not going to be easy to modify if you have a problem with animal sacrifice. As you can see, we got some illustrations of goat sacrifice here. Probably one of the most disgusting things that I found in this book. And look, I've been engaging in chicken sacrifice. I admit. But this is just highly transgressive for a Luciferian. And it's probably unacceptable in the eyes of a Luciferian. Average Luciferian, I want to say, is going to find this unacceptable. And it is taking a goat and causing the goat to be possessed by Lucifer. So calling down the spirit of Lucifer into the goat and sacrificing the goat in order to drink Lucifer's blood, basically. So you're drinking the blood of the goat, and that makes you, drink Lucifer's blood and stuff. Highly blasphemous stuff, honestly. So a lot of blood drinking. Again, this is paganism, at its rawest. The Gnostic Luciferian is just going to find this abominable. Most Luciferians, anyway, will probably find this abominable. If they're practicing the same kind that I'm practicing. So, and then, of course, there's a lot of dragon worship going on, too. But working with reptilians can be dangerous. I don't recommend that you mix these gods with reptilians. But, again, a lot of people do. The MLO does the same thing. Misanthropic Luciferian Order. In fact, they seem to believe that Lucifer is a reptilian god himself. He is not. And then we got Crown Princes. I'm missing one of the other books on sacrifice. But this is like the second series. And I'm not really sure a whole lot about this one. Just seems like more of the same kind of stuff, really. Hard rituals, rituals that the average person probably will not be able to complete. So these are definitely not beginner books. But the one that I really wanted to talk about, and this is probably the first one that I've liked by him, to be honest with you. And I know it's a little, it's got a lot of hair on it because the cats and all that stuff, so it's probably not in the best condition. But, second volume of Ars Diaboli, The Altar of Qayin, Book of Resurrection. So, as you guys know, I have been working with Mott, the Spirit of Death, and I read the Liber Falcifer books, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised that I liked this book. I didn't think I would like it, because I just didn't like any of his other stuff. I tried to get through the Lucifer one. I couldn't, get through it. One of the things that really drives me nuts is his writing style. When he writes, he talks about information, and then he goes off in kind of a poem. And then it's like a little information, and then it's another poem that you have to get through. And it's just off and on, off and on. So see, you got like Hands of the Bone King, and then he goes into this little poem here, and then he goes back into the information, and it's like, I'm just one of those people, I just want the information. I don't need a poem on every single page, just about. So, if you have a problem with that, you definitely would not like his style of writing. But the reason why I really like this book is he talks about Mott as the first Reaper, the first Lord of Death. And he calls him, what does he call him? He calls him Arcos. So we first get a chance to meet Arcos in the Scorpion God book. Arcos is the, I guess this is his esoteric name for Mott, basically, Lord of Death. So there he is. So the first Lord of Death, Arcos. I don't know if he made it up or if it was just something that he, because I tried looking it up. I tried looking for stuff on Arcos and I couldn't find anything about it, so I have no idea where that name is coming from. I don't know if it was a personal revelation that the author got into, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this is called the Scorpion God. Scorpion is a symbol of Arcos, or Mott, often associated with the Lord of Death. Which lead me to believe that Belial might actually be a form of Mott. They might actually be one and the same. Because his region is north and it's the Black Earth. When we look at the cardinal directions of these spirits. So I have a feeling that Mott is Belial in many ways. In Liber Falcifer 3, it talks about him being associated, it talks about the Lord of Death being associated with Baalbereth, the cult of Baal, in some of these circles, and so it makes me think that Belial might actually be Mott, a form of Mott, probably like a horned, trying to assimilate him with Baal worship. Because worship of him in Canaanite days was actually forbidden. So he was deemed unacceptable for worship. So this cult was presumably driven underground, and in order to make it more socially acceptable, he had to be assimilated with the Baal cult, which makes a lot of sense. At least that's the revelation that I've kind of received from him, from working with him. And we know that he's, in charge of the Urib-Sarak. So he is the Baal in that Cleffa. So that show. So he does make a distinction between Qayin and Arcos. So Qayin was a disciple, essentially, of Arcos, or Mott. And this makes a lot of sense. This is probably why he killed Abel. Qayin is Cain. Abel was considered the first human sacrifice. It was like he made a pact with Mott. And what ended up happening was he went through these rituals with Mott and was initiated into becoming the second Reaper, basically. So he makes a distinction between the two. Some rituals are geared more towards Qayin, others are geared more towards Mott in this book. So if you're interested in working with The First Lord of Death. This is actually a pretty good book to get into. And once again, it goes into some Belial stuff. The rituals, yes, can be very complicated. Once again, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore. There is a bloodless path that you can go on using a stang, which is a horned staff. They're not easy to obtain. It basically says you have to go in the forest and you have to find the horned staff and you have to make it yourself and all that. Further complication is finding a horn from a goat that was not killed conventionally in, like, you know, meat packing facility, but probably, you know, found in the most humane way possible. That becomes a chalice for you to do a ritual known as the Devil's Blood, where you pour the sacrificial blood in from the animal and you drink it and take part in that. Montaigne, of course, did a song referring to the Devil's Blood. And then, of course, the band, The Devil's Blood, came out, which was based heavily on that song from Montaigne. So, all in all, this was probably the best one that I have read from him. It is a huge book, as you can see. It will take you a while to get through. But yeah, I mean, it talks about making masks, talks about making a cloak. It's like a cloak with all these different demonic gods, sigils on them. A lot of blood rituals. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of, you know, killing goats and skinning them and using their hide for sigil making and all that stuff. So it's very, very intense type of rituals. Not something for an average occultist, certainly not a beginner book. But it is what it is. Very. So I will try to get into the other books a little bit more. I've just been reading so many books lately about, like, Tantra and all that I haven't really gotten that far into it. The one book that I did get kind of far into was The Altar of Sacrifice. You know, we're still grappling with the snow and all that. It's like a skating rink out there because there's a layer of ice on the snow. I had to hire somebody to dig out my car because it's so, it was so hard for me to do it, honestly. And then I just got this Asha Sheet-In book, Mark of Qayin, which, of course, has zero to do with Qayin, but everything to do with their system, but well, in society. So, yeah, I mean, I just have quite a few books. I will be doing a book review of this pretty soon. So stay tuned. So in closing, yeah, I do recommend The Altar of Qayin. You don't have to read the other books first. This book is a standalone book, so If you get any of these books, I recommend this one. But like I said, these are not like good beginner books. And Mark Allen Smith is just all, you know, I mean, it's just extreme. So, you know, be prepared. There's a lot of crazy rituals that are definitely bloody, gruesome. So anyway, yeah. The one thing that I would like to add, actually, while I'm on the subject of paganism, is the reason why paganism doesn't work with Gnosticism is because it's nature worship, and anything nature is mundane. Gnosticism is the focus of the spirit, so you're really not supposed to worship creation. And that's kind of like one of the problems that I have with paganism, is it's demiurgic. It's really no different than demiurgic religions, because it's the worship of the flesh, and not the spirit. So, in closing, I would like to just add that. And as far as like Hecate being the wife of Lucifer, I think that's very incorrect. That's obviously something that he made up. I've heard pagans kind of rip on these books also that I've worked with Hecate that said the same thing. It just doesn't seem like... It seems like he's trying to make Hecate into a Lilith or a Baphomet figure, basically. He's trying to rationalize that by taking a goddess that was really popular in a dark goddess, you know, a queen of hell, that was really popular in pre-Christendom, and you know, tying it in with Lucifer worship. It really just doesn't make any sense. Lucifer's wife is Sophia, and as far as I know, Hecate is not Sophia. So, yeah, I just think his gnosis is kind of off on that. But, yeah, I thought this was a good book. It works if you're involved in death worship, and you want to get into the Senor La Muerte thing and mob worship. So, if you guys like this book review, please hit like and subscribe. Thank you.